So now that we've watched the second video, we can review again. So this video features Dr. Rachel Dolan from the Michael J. Fox Foundation explaining Parkinson's disease. She says Parkinson's disease is very common and over 1 million people in the U.S. have it. Motor symptoms include tremors, stiffness, and slowness of movement. And non-motor symptoms include sleep problems and cognitive changes. She said Parkinson's results from the loss of dopamine-producing brain cells, but no definitive cause has been identified. She did also say that genetics and environmental factors play a role, such as like hitting your head or pesticides. So diagnosing Parkinson's disease includes a medical history and medical examination, and it requires a movement disorder specialist. And current treatments alleviate symptoms, but they do not stop the progression. Dr. Dolan emphasizes personalized care and a movement disorder specialist and therapies. So, how does this one relate to microbiology? Well, I would argue this one actually relates more because, as we know, Parkinson's disease involves the death of dopamine-producing neurons, which is affected by DNA and genetics. And like we know, microbiology was all about DNA and genetics. It taught us how the cells and molecules, including infections and inflammation, can impact the health of the brain and the body, which in turn contribute to Parkinson's disease. I honestly thought this was a cool little picture because it shows you how the DNA was mismatched or whatever. But okay, so Parkinson's and microbiology interrelation. So just to go more into depth, although we have not specifically covered Parkinson's disease in class, it does relate to microbiology in a number of ways. So number one, the pathogens. Certain microbial infections, like the ones caused by viruses and bacteria, have been linked to the onset of Parkinson's disease. Inflammation in the brain can contribute to damage of the neurons and the development of symptoms. Secondly, the gut-brain axis. We did talk about this a lot in class in the gut microbiota, how it plays a huge role in brain health through the gut-brain axis, and an imbalance in the gut bacteria can disrupt your nervous system because it crosses your blood-brain barrier, and this is associated with Parkinson's disease and symptoms like tremors. The part of the brain that controls movement is dysfunctional when this happens. So now we can talk more about environmental factors like exposure to certain toxins and pesticides can alter your microbial communities, and it is a risk factor for Parkinson's. Microbiologists have been researching these factors and how they influence the onset of progression of Parkinson's. They've also been researching to find any treatments, therapies, and beneficial activities. So now let's compare the two videos. So let's start with the similarities. So both videos discuss Parkinson's disease, its symptoms, and its diagnosis. They both highlight key symptoms like tremors, rigidity, slowness in movement, and balance problems. And both doctors from both videos mention the importance of medical history and physical examination in diagnosing Parkinson's. And like I just said, both videos feature experts discussing the disease, although they do have different focuses. So now let's talk about those focuses. So to start off, the first video, NBC News with Dr. Tom Pitts. The focus was speculation on Biden's health and signs of Parkinson's. The symptoms were specific to President Biden's observed behavior, such as word-finding difficulties, rigidity, and slowness of movement. So although these symptoms can apply to other patients, it can't really be generalized to say that every single person will have these symptoms. So that's why it is very specific to President Biden's observed behavior. And it is based only on outside observations. He did not have an actual medical examination with Biden. So this has potential bias due to speculating and the political context right now with the election and everything going on. And Dr. Pitts expresses frustration with political handling of Biden's health. So I would argue that it is pretty biased in that way. So now let's talk about the second video and that video's focus. So the focus was general information about Parkinson's disease and the treatment, and general symptoms are applicable to all Parkinson's patients, including motor and non-motor symptoms like cognitive changes and depression. And she emphasized the need for lab tests for Parkinson's and the importance of specialized medical history and examination, and more objective and educational. This video had the purpose to teach and increase understanding and awareness of Parkinson's disease, whereas the other one was more political based. So let's talk about the potential consequences of this video being biased. So some of them include the spreading of misinformation about the president. In my opinion, it does seem a little bit unprofessional for the doctor to say they could diagnose someone specifically from across the mall when they've literally never even talked to the patient first. I don't know, I just thought that was kind of unprofessional. But some public opinions can be changed about the president after this video was published. You know, people really speculating or causing rumors that he has not Alzheimer's, but Parkinson's disease, when it has not yet been confirmed, nor do we know that it ever will be. So, also it can create an unnecessary public anxiety because it's the president being speculated on. So maybe some people will feel like, wow, my country is not that safe. Or other countries will think, wow, America's really not safe. We should attack them. So, let's talk about why this interested me and summary. So, I think it was interesting to take a look at what people have been saying about Biden's health, especially considering the political context and like the whole presidential election coming up and everything. So this video did catch my eye when I was searching videos to look into, and it was so recent. I think when I found the video, it had only been published like 5 days ago. So I was pretty interested to take a look at it. And I know, like, even though it's interesting to take a look at the rumors, it is equally important to fact check this information from the internet and not trust everything at first glance, because it is very easy to spread information or misinformation online and to be manipulated into thinking something without actually delving into it or researching it for yourself. And I think this applies to so much more than just videos or news articles. I think this also applies to social medias like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I feel like there's just so much fake news everywhere, and especially when it relates to health of the human body. I feel like people just jump to, oh no, I have cancer, there's something really, really wrong with me, or I'm gonna die tomorrow, and they don't actually go in to visit the doctor or do their own research on the topic. They just jump to the highest extreme, and like I said, that it causes anxiety. So now we have my sources. So I use Mayo Clinic, the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research, and then obviously NBC News because that's where my video came from. So there we have it. Thank you for watching my presentation today.